Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, Honourable Minister, distinguished guests, magistrates, members of the bar, friends of the court, ladies and gentlemen. It gives us great pleasure to welcome you to this special sitting of the court today. It is a bittersweet occasion. It is an occasion of sadness, but it is also an occasion of happiness. It is an occasion on which we say farewell to the Honourable Mr. Justice Robert Shuster, and an occasion on which we welcome Mr. Justice Cato. Mr. Justice Robert Shuster is, I dare say, very well known to you all. I think he's very well known to most people in Tonga. He came to us in 2008, having previously worked in Singapore, in Borneo, in Canada, in Fiji, and in Sierra Leone. His legal career actually started out in Alberta, where he was a chief of police for quite a number of years, and that has given him some special expertise that he's used in his criminal cases, seeing it, as it were, from the other side as well. After working for the police for a while, he then joined industry, where he was in charge of alternative dispute resolution for a large company. But when he tired of resolving other people's disputes, he decided to go into the field of academe. He was a senior examiner at the General Council of the Bar of England and Wales, specialising in criminal procedure and evidence. At the same time, he was a senior lecturer at the Inns of Court School of Law, a very well-known school of law that I myself, in fact, attended, but I don't think that was Mr. Justice Shuster's fault. Really. He can't take any blame for that, because he started lecturing there after I had left. Not being content with just dealing with academic matters, he also was a senior Crown prosecutor in the north of England. Well, the north of England is quite a nice place, but it becomes tiresome after a while, and he got restless and thought that he'd try something adventurous, and so he went off to Fiji, although I don't think he quite realised what he was letting himself in for. A number of heavy fraud trials, and then the attempted coup, and the first time Robert and I met was when I was dealing with the George Speight matter, and Robert Shuster was one of the prosecution team on that matter. In 2003, Robert Shuster did something which I think is extremely brave. He went out to Sierra Leone in West Africa, which had been racked by a terrible civil war. Some of you, I'm sure, have seen photographs of children, women, young men with their arms lopped off. Robert Shuster was the first judge to go there on behalf of the Commonwealth, and he was one of the people who took a first step towards restoring law and order in that very unhappy but much loved country. As I say, that was, in my opinion, a very brave and courageous thing to do. Well, after that, Robert Shuster decided that something a little quieter was required, and he decided to come down to Tonga. He arrived here, as I've just said, in 2008, and quickly established himself as a lead member of the court, particularly specialising in criminal matters. In 2010, when the then Chief Justice and the other puisne judge left at rather short notice, Robert Shuster was left shouldering the entire judiciary himself. Again, a courageous thing to be able to undertake, and something that he did with great distinction. In the years, in the 18 months or so since I've been here, he has largely specialized in crime, and the results of that are well known to all of you who practice at the bar here. In the last 12 months, or at least in the 12 months of 2011, it has been shown statistically that Mr. Justice Shuster and I managed to increase the amount of work disposed of by the Supreme Court over the previous 12 months, when there were 3 judges, by over 60%. And I believe that that is in large measure the result of Robert Shuster's enthusiasm, his hard work, his loyalty, his dedication, his unfailing good humour, and may I say, the fact that he turns up to work every day. Quite a number of our other staff aren't quite as good at as he is. Well, Robert Shuster has made an outstanding contribution to Tonga. I personally am extremely grateful for his friendship and am sorry that he's going. He's been a good friend, and I wish him and Althea all the best in the future. Well, those are sad words, but when I started I said this occasion is bitter and sweet, and there are some sweet words to follow, which is a relief. It's my great pleasure to welcome Mr. Justice Charles Cato to the Supreme Court of Tonga. Justice Cato joins us from the New Zealand bar, to which he was admitted in 1973 after graduating with an LLB from Auckland University. He did so well there that he was picked out and sent on a scholarship to Oxford, where he repaid the trust that was placed in him by obtaining a degree of Bachelor of Civil Law with first-class honours, at a time, I can tell you, when first-class honours were not very often given out. He then returned to the Southern Hemisphere, and he lectured at Auckland University. He lectured in the Northern Territory University in civil procedure, evidence, and civil law. After that, he returned to the New Zealand bar, where he practiced from 1980 to 1989. From 1990 to 1993, he was with the Director of Public Prosecutions of New South Wales, and then in 1994, a bit of the spirit of adventure of Mr. Justice Shuster, he decided to go as far north as the Northern Territory, where he managed to survive for 2 years until returning to the bar in 1996. He's remained at the bar until today of New Zealand, and as I say, he now comes to join us. Apart from a distinguished career at the bar, he is also the author of numerous learned articles on such matters as strict liability, Mariva injunctions, the liability of third parties, trustees, and various other esoteric matters of that kind. I've got a list of all the articles, and if you want to read them, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me. Mr. Justice Cato is eminently qualified to join our bar, to join our bench, and I warmly welcome him on behalf of the court and wish him well in the years he spends with us.